Well, hello, everyone who's tuning in right now. I just want to say thank you so much for those of you who are tuning in and those of you who are going to tell people to tune in, which I hope you do. I really appreciate this. As most of you know, this is my very first time doing a YouTube video, and this is pretty much a rough draft right here. This is just the first one. I'm going to pretty much introduce myself and tell you why you should take, out possibly 35, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour out your Sunday to watch me. So, sorry about that. There's noise in the background. See, I got to get used to all of this. So basically, if you do not know me, you never heard of me a day in your life before, and you're trying to see who is this girl and why she's on YouTube with all the other YouTubers in the world. First off, I do want to say I am not trying to be a YouTuber. As far as I don't care how popular I get with this. I am specifically here for whoever the universe want me to give these messages to, and who's going to give them back to me. So that's why I'm here. So in a nutshell, quickly, my name is Nikki Woods. I am a MS Art Therapy Program major at FSU, which is Florida State University here in Tallahassee, Florida. I am only 5 weeks into the program, and it has been, I would say amazing, but it has been cool, but I'll get later on into detail on the specifics and the rawness of this school year. So basically, why am I here and why do I want you to watch me? So I'm here to just be super authentic, raw, and uncut with you throughout this process of my journey as becoming an art therapist. Now, I am an 8-year Army service veteran, so I do want to take you along post art therapy to even after, and I want to take you along just my journey through being a veteran, my journey being a Black woman in America. And everything will be uncut and raw, no filter for the most part. I know kids are probably watching, but please don't expect me to be a role model. I'm not here to be a role model. If I am a role model to someone, and if I do reach people in that way, I'm totally okay with that. That's what the universe had planned for me, but I am not here, and this is not what the platform is for. My platform right now is specifically to open up to you guys and take you along this journey with me as smooth and rocky as possible, whatever the case may be. Just want to be true and genuine with you guys. Now, I'll give you a little background about myself. As I just stated, I am an 8-year veteran. I've been stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington. I've been to Germany, stationed there, which I absolutely love. I go there a lot, actually, still. I did do a deployment in Bagram, Afghanistan. After that, I was in Missouri, where I was stationed at a basic training unit. That was pretty interesting, being on the other side of things, but it was a great ride as well. And then after Missouri, I moved to New York, where I then pursued my bachelor's degree in design at the School of Visual Arts. I mainly do 3D design, but I'm also a graphic designer as well. That's where I got my major in, but I love working with my hands. I love creating with these 10 little guys here to make it my own, So that's pretty much in a nutshell my bio, I guess you can say, but it's much longer than that, of course. So after I came to New York, I did serve in the reserves as well for my finishing year, 7 years active, 1 year reserve, where I was at Fort Hamilton, Brooklyn, and was going to school and still studying there. I just graduated from SVA in May of this year when COVID first happened, and which is another reason why I'm here. I'm doing this predominantly as well, 50% for my sanity, because of all that's going on and everything is so remote and everything is all online, and you can't really go out to the campus. The campus is not open at the moment. So I need this, and I hope you would appreciate this time with me as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the intro about me. I'll get more into depth as we go. This is just, again, the first episode of the Nikki Woods journey. from veteran to art therapist, and what that means to me and what it can possibly mean to all the veterans out there. I am heavily involved in a veteran community. I have served among veterans ever since I got out, from the moment I touched down in New York City, where I became the president over the veterans at the School of Visual Arts, which we call BCA. I'll drop some links down below so you can check it out if you want, and ask me all the questions you want. Feel free. Don't sugarcoat anything, because I surely would not sugarcoat nothing as well. So yeah, I love my veterans. It makes up, honestly, maybe 80% of me, of my identity, because no one can truly really understand, when it comes to veteran, no one can really understand. You may think which is totally fine. Everything is not for everyone to understand. But I hope throughout this journey, throughout this process, you become closer to a veteran side of things, and also just become aware of what art therapy is and how it really heals, and how art can heal dealing with mental issues, whether it's traumatic issues, PTSD, or severe mental issues. Art therapy is another opportunity for you, rather than taking pain pills every day, all day. So yeah, that's what I'm all about. As I said, I will be super raw. You won't see me cutting and making things perfect. I'll probably cut a little things. But before we get started, I'm so sorry. This is not how I want to do it, because before I get started with anything, I have to set the space. Setting the space is so important for me, and this is my safe space right here. I have created this safe space. Whatever your safe space look like, I would love for you to get there, and I would love for you to share that with me. But right now in Nikki Woods world, I have to set up my safe space, and what that looks like for me. I have to burn my sage, for sure. Set my intentions, put that good positive energy in the room. Make sure we enter the room with positive energy, and make sure we exit with even more positive energy. That's what I'm all about. Not just saying it, I live it, I breathe it, and I do it. I totally respect the universe, and I trust the universe. It took a while for me to get there. We're going to go in that throughout the way as well. But today is specifically me introducing myself to the world, and all those frequencies that's out there that's meant for me, and that's meant for this channel. This is no witchcraft, as most people may see. I do not do this for witchcraft purposes. Like I said, it's literally to set up my safe space. I love sage. I love smudging the room. I love clearing the air out, and I love just setting my intentions off rip. Along with playing my music, I love a variety of music. I can definitely share some with you guys later on down the line as well. I range from all over the place, but mostly I'm in love with neo soul. Love me some Willow Smith. Love that girl and her brother Jaden Smith. Will Smith, you did great with those kids. Definitely going to take after you when I birth my little queen or king of my own. I do have a king actually here. You'll see him come in and out. I just got a cat, which I definitely needed for self-care. We will also talk about self-care, which is a major thing when studying art therapy or any type of thing, but specifically studying art therapy, self-care is your main priority, not just studying. If you do not have a balanced life and you do not self-care, you can tend to drift off and get lost within your studies. So self-care is definitely important, and this is how self-care, one of the ways. I have many ways, but we can get into that. So yeah, I just want to take my time with you guys today. Again, being super authentic and natural as possible. I am what you would call an existentialist being. I love existentialism. I study it very well. I love philosophy, and that's what I resonate with the most, and we can get into that along the way. After I set my stage, gotta burn me a good incense or two. That's another part of my safe space. I All right, we're almost ready. Another thing that's super important to me, and I just want to reiterate, this is a no judgment zone. We do not judge here. So with that being said, this is an informal space and a safe space for me to just express myself and for me to be able to open up and be vulnerable to you guys. With that being said, I love wine. I have to have my wine. So you will always see a glass. Let me take a sip. King, what you doing? He coming over here. Will always have my wine present. A glass or two. I have a bottle here. I will refill because it helps me. I love red wine. I love how it makes me feel. I'm really mellow. I'm really calm, and I create a lot. And you know, I guess the doctors say 1 glass a day keeps. What does it keep away? It's supposed to keep something in the way. I will not depend on Google to tell me what it keeps away. But to me, it keeps all the negativity away. It keeps all the stress and worrying away for me. And I just love to feel free, and I love to feel open, and I love to feel positive, and I love my wine. Thanks to Germany for, you know, really schooling me on good wine. Usually I have red wine, but today it's super early in the day. It's only about 1500, which is 3 o'clock. Sorry. I'm so used to saying military time, and all my time is on military time. But yeah, usually I have red wine, so you'll see a lot of that. So yeah, basically you are going to journey with me throughout my master's program with art therapy. So each week, each and every Sunday, I'll be posting a video on how was my week, the previous week. So that's what we're gonna dive into right now. Last week, first of all, school. Let's talk about how school's been. As I stated, I graduated in May with my bachelor's, right when the pandemic happened. Never foreseen that happening, but I'm good with adapting. I've been adapting for the past 8 years now because of the military. I joined at the age of 17, so before I even knew what the military really was, I jumped right in it head first, and we're going to get more into that later of how, why, when, what, and how, and why, and all of that. But basically, it was a really rough time trying to finish out your last year as a student, trying to get all your work in. It was stressful, of course. A lot of anxiety arose. But long story short, I presented my best work, my best portfolio throughout those hard times, you know, which I definitely take for a lesson. You know, sometimes, you know, negative can bring a positive for sure. So I really appreciate just going through that, and I appreciate everyone that was studying during those times and had to quickly adjust. Appreciate your willpower, and appreciate your strength. But I would have never guessed I would have had to start my master's program off online, doing remote. I was so ready to start art therapy and to be in person, getting out in the field, doing my internships at the VAs, working with veterans. So what I did not mention, excuse me, I'll backtrack a bit. My main focus is definitely the veteran community. I love veterans, like I did state, and I'm all about caring for veterans. So I specifically want to focus on treating veterans with PTSD or any type of other traumatic issues. Doesn't just necessarily have to be PTSD, but I would love to just work with veterans and helping them understand that art is another form of healing, and is a great form of healing. It's more expressive without even saying words. You can tell a lot by just one particular art piece. You do not have to use the same materials, and we'll get more into that and what the ETC mean and MDV mean when it comes to art therapy and moving through that scale. So yeah, I want to get into last week. You know, we're on these Zoom calls, you're sitting in there all day on a computer like how I am talking to you guys, minus my wine, usually with my tea and everything. But you know, you're in these courses and you're just trying to make sure you're giving verbal communication, trying to participate as well, and trying to just be present in the moment, trying to give it your all, trying to be true and authentic and gain as much knowledge as you can through a screen, you know, which can be a little complicated for some and also still for me, but for the most part, I've grasped the idea of working remotely, but it is a totally different thing. It has its advantages and disadvantages like anything else. But I want to say last week was a great week. We focused on something called Genograms in one of my courses, and I would love to share with you guys what is a genogram and the art making I did with that genogram. So we had to do an art-based reflection on genogram. Now, a genogram is basically a depiction of your family history, your family roots, who's in your family, what possible issues they may have or issues they may not have, how close you are to them, the traumatic experiences you may experience within that family. And you know, I grew up in Brown Subs, Miami. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. Grew up in the ghetto, in the hood of the subs, off of 51st and 29th. I'm pretty sure all my Miami 305 people understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, I did not grow up with no silver spoon at all. If anything, I had white plastic forks and spoons from the dollar store, and I'm okay with that because it definitely made me who I am, and now I understand the difference between a silver spoon and a white, you know, plastic spoon. And sometimes I eat with both. Sometimes I alternate and switch them up, which is totally fine. So talking about eating and talking about, you know, food and things like that, my genogram basically reflected on the fact that what brings my family together. Now, my family is nowhere near perfect, not even by a long shot. We still have a lot of work to do, and I have been, you know, trying to rebuild the relationship and trying to rebuild that up as much as possible. But still a work in progress, just like anything else. So I had to really think about this. It hit a lot of emotional points. It was very rough, and we had to present this in the class as well before making the art piece. So again, I'll go back and explain what a genogram is. Pretty much how you predict your family, how you depict what's your family roots, how close, and how, if it's dysfunction, not dysfunctional, what have you, and how will you describe that in an art form? You know, how would you describe that? You know, people use all type of materials, whether it was strings, whether it was paint, whether it was mixed media, you know, whether it was using flowers, you know, some people just use solely watercolor, you know, things like that. But how would you describe it? It was a specific way. We did have to make some sort of web so it makes a little sense of how that connects. And you had to specifically see who's in the family tree and things like that. Whether it's you wanted to deal with immediate family or your whole family as a whole. So yeah, I want to take you guys through that. And I hope we really understand, you know, this process of a genogram. And after this, I really do want to use it with my future clients. Therefore, they can probably, you know, be able to express themselves through this, using these materials to represent their family and their background. So I had to think very, very clear about this. What is it that brings my family together? I stayed up night, mind you, we had this project. We got presented this project for 2 weeks in advance. So we had 2 weeks to do this project, right? And, you know, we're just starting school, and I'm like, what the heck is a genogram? What's a genogram? Like, genogram. Okay, it makes sense. Geno, what? Something dealing with genes, right? Okay? So once we got into what's a genogram, I had no idea what I was going to do. I started doing all type of things using different materials. I love sunflowers. As you can see, that's a big part of me. That's a big part of my identity, and I'll go through that possibly next week, diving into what the sunflower means to me and why you see me around all of these plants and sunflowers. Again, this is my safe space. I won't do a box because I am totally outside the box. I jump in and out of it, but I got a little door, you know, for the box, so definitely not in the box. So you know, weeks after weeks, I'm thinking, week after week, I'm like, what am I gonna do, you know? I don't even know much about my family. I don't really know the truth about things. There's still some untold stories, you know, that lies. There's still a lot of dysfunction. And it hit on some really hard topics. It's very emotional for me to do this, which I'm glad I did get it out, because it was a good thing. So I did 3 things. 1 with sunflowers and paper, didn't like that. 2, I love space, so I wanted to do something dealing with space, didn't like that. It wasn't really speaking to me. So a night before the project was due, which I do not recommend this, so again, this is a no judgment zone. Whatever I do is purely me being truly authentic and honest with how I'm doing things, but I do not support your habits or whatever you like to do when it comes to your work ethic. And I don't judge. Whatever works for you, works for you. Whatever works for me, works for me. So the day before class, I'm thinking, and I went to my mom's for dinner, and we haven't really been on a good foot, but she invited me over for dinner. It was a holiday. What was the holiday? Just past week or 2. Labor Day. I'm gonna say Labor Day. She's like, I'm cooking, and you know, I only eat certain foods. I am a pescatarian. I stay far away from meat, but I do still eat fish, which is considered meat. But I'm working on it. I try to eat as healthy as possible, and we're gonna definitely dive into that later as well, and what eating and health and wellness means to the Black community, because I'm very strong on those subjects as well. So let me get back. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. Stay with me. This is my first time, like I said. So I'm not really nervous, but I'm just here. I'm just here. So y'all be here with me. Stay here with me. Let the vibes come through. Soak up some of this sage. Let me send it through. Let me wrap it on up and send it your way. So yeah, long story short, I couldn't figure out what to do, and also, what is family? What does family mean to me when you're still trying to pick up the pieces and trying to, you know, connect your family? What does that look like to you? And I couldn't think of nothing, right? So I went to my mom's, and I'm like, Mom, I gotta do this project tomorrow, and you know, I don't know what to do. Help me. What brings the family together? Like, I don't know. Like, what is it that makes us unique? Like, you know, I'm into my African stuff and whatever. You know, we trying to get into that together and stuff like that. We trying to get into the roots, and I'm trying to preach, you know, African roots and rituals to them and things like that. Trying to bring us back, you know, in and understand that pineal gland and how to exercise that and how to open that and keep it wide open. Just trying to get them there, and it's been a struggle. So I'm like, what is it that, you know, what is our family known for, or what are we connected to? And my mom, she made a statement. We're in a dollar store. I still go to the dollar store for a lot of things. It helps me out. I love the dollar store, Dollar Tree to be specific, all of that. She's like, I'm picking up paint, and I'm like, I don't want to do nothing with paint. I tried, it didn't really work, but I'll get the paint just in case this thing due tomorrow. I'm just trying to get this thing done at this point. And this is my first official assignment, so you know, anxiety levels are going up. I'm trying to be perfect with this. Not perfect, sorry, I would never be perfect, but I'm trying to, you know, just present something that's okay and acceptable to me at the end of the day. Not really to the professor, but to me, something that I am happy that I did. So she's like, food. I'm like, food? She was like, yeah, food bring us together. And I'm like, Mom, food? I'm laughing at her. I'm like, we sound fat now, like, if you say food. So I'm like, I can't really do nothing on food, Mom, but okay, thank you for your input. Lo and behold, that had such an impact on what I was going to do later on that day. And when I say later on that day, I mean later on that day. So I got the paint and I got everything, and I had to drive all the way from Georgia, only 3 hours away from Tallahassee, just to come back and make sure I do my assignment in time. So I drive down, and by the time I get here, it's already 11, p.m., 2300. So I'm like, okay, got it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do whatever it is. Trying to get that motivation up and everything. which I work best at night, a specific time at night. I'll be specific. I work at a specific time at night, which I'm gonna go through. So 11 o'clock, nothing came. So I just moved to Tallahassee, so I started decorating my room. I had went to Rosie's earlier that day, and my mom and grandma got me some like cool things from there. Rosie's is a really discount store that's really cool too. You get a lot of stuff from there, your household goods and things like that, clothes too. But so I'm setting up the bathroom, you know, trying to let the ideas, trying to let the mental flow, trying to get into the groove. I burn my sage, I light my light, and you know, I just try to get into the groove. Still nothing. So I'm like, okay, stop decorating the bathroom. I goes into the room, and I started making something with space, because I love space. I love aliens. I love the idea of learning about space, just as I do the ocean. So I started this thing where I had this large 24 by, I believe, 11 piece of paper, and on that paper was sort of a space background, cosmic background. So I wanted to do something connecting the family to the cosmics in the space. So I wanted to take some string and you know, play around with the constellation and make the family connect like that, and kind of represent my family throughout the constellations in space. That wasn't enough for me. I'm like, no, I don't like this either. So I'm like, oh my God, at this time it's 2 o'clock in the morning and still nothing. And I had to email this so my professor can have the PowerPoint together to show to the class. So long story short, I didn't give up, but I sat down. I sat down in the bed, and then I ended up laying down for 2 seconds. I didn't go to sleep, I laid down. And it was, at this point, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, around 3 something. Idea came right back. Something happened where what my mom stated about food bringing us together, it just resonated. I'm like, food? What can I do with food? I'm like, I can't just like put a piece of burger or put some, like, I don't know, connect some French fries and ketchup together. Like, I don't know about that. But let me get up. Let me try to think. Let me see what I got in this refrigerator. You know, all of my refrigerator is just all green stuff and healthy stuff for the most part. So I played around that idea with food. Thanks for that. I played around with that idea with food, and I got so in the zone, right? Like I said, I just moved here. I had brand new plates, a brand new table. I set up my dining room and everything, which is, you know, like this. And I just started getting the plates together. And as you can see, I'm gonna, you know, present to you what that looks like here. Okay, I'm gonna look with you so I can kind of explain it. So yeah, as you can see, if you're looking at the table, I wanted to play around the idea of setting your table. What does a seat at your table look like? What does your family look like? What is that, you know, family roots and history? What does that look like? Who's in your family? So I used the plates as a symbol to symbolize different people within my family. I only put my immediate family because honestly, that's all I pretty much know, you know. Still, like I said, still getting there. Don't want to get too sentimental with that. But I have my sister in the middle, my grandma on the right, my mother on the left. Now all of these are still relationships that are being works in progress. And I wanted to pretty much use the table as a set, you know, the setting of the table to depict my family. And it looks like a nice table, right? It looks nice. It looks like everything is perfectly laid there. And the process of this was also one big thing of what a genogram is. You got to take a step back and reflect on, okay, how was that process for you? Setting up that piece and going through the motion and trying to figure out where to place people and where to put things. And with this process, I was so anal about, okay, where to put the forks, where to put the spoons. And as you can see, I set the place, I wrote on the plates the family member, and within that family, like my grandma, all of them are married besides me. And as you can see, I'm the only seat at the table because I wanted to give you guys a bird's eye view of sitting at my table with me, as if it's myself looking into the table, but also you viewing. I wanted for you guys to view my table with me as well. So yeah, my grandma to the right, she is married. She has 3 kids. My mother, my 2 uncles, not close with at all, but like working on that. So yeah, that's what the spoons are for, and I'll get into that later as well. Wine here. Wine is the reason why everything is placed so carefully, right? Which I was focused on placing things so carefully, and then you see my plate that's overflowing, and I'll get into what that means as well. And then let's go to the next picture. You know, I'm playing my music, I'm getting into the zone, and then I just start thinking, okay, this is my immediate family. They have kids, they're all with families, you know, and then I'm overflowing my plate because I feel like I have so much responsibility. I have so much on my plate, and also I am single as well. I don't have a family just yet, but definitely getting there, just getting myself together. And yeah, I wanted to depict the fact that I feel like I'm so responsible for putting back the pieces of the family, and I feel like there's so much on my shoulders, there's so much weight on my shoulders with trying to bring everyone together constantly and trying to rebuild what family means. And honestly, I'm rebuilding what family means because 1, I don't know what it means. I'm still figuring it out. 2, once I have my family, I want them to know that they have a family to look to as well, like my mother and my grandma and my sister and things like that. So just taking the time and rebuilding that took a lot. We can go into that further, but yeah, the next picture you're looking at, everything is chaotic because that's really what the family is. Nothing is really pretty as this table may seem. Nothing is set so perfectly. The place setting is not so immaculate. So I took that time and just like went crazy with ingredients, using like the salt and pepper as different meanings as well, just like for not knowing a lot of the family history and not knowing the real relatives that I'm related to. I know they're out there somewhere, but just not knowing them personally. That's the salt and pepper, and just the hot sauce and the things that we use traditionally in the family. Yeah, so I just wanted to reflect on that and use these as symbols, and I just wanted to be as messy as possible, but also understanding that I just got a new apartment, so I can't really, you know, mess things up. So yeah, that's pretty much how I depicted my family, and this is what my genogram looks like. This is what a seat at my table looks like. Not too pretty, and this is what a seat at my table hopefully will change along the way, and the table will grow and grow and get bigger, and I will be able to add things to it hopefully as well. So yeah, the wine stands for something, and then I'll take you to, so like I said, I am a graphic designer, so and a marketer. I did study advertising as well. So anytime I do something, I always think to the next level, like what can I do with this idea? How can I brand this, or how can I make this into more than a 3D piece? So we didn't have to have a legend, but it's cool to have a legend so people understand where you are in the genogram and where you are on the map, or you know, whatever you design. So what I did was, what you're looking at now is I created a quote-unquote menu, and I called it Dining and Crying, a family restaurant, all made up. You know, pretty much this is a legend. I wanted to correlate with the seat at the table. So as you can see, plating, what that means, large and small plate means the family, they have a family, they're married, open relationship. Utensils, the spoon equals a male, and it also equals a child. The fork is always the female, also equals a child or wife. Knife, male equal husband. And then the add-ons, the seasonings, like I explained, the distant relatives, the unclear family history, the traumatic issues, the deep traumas and unhealed wounds, and the discombobulation of the family, all just, you know, plastered all over the place, and plastered over those clean, nice, you know, plates that was never used. just tainting that area, because that's honestly what my family is. Can be toxic at times. So sometimes you have to distance yourself from your family as well. But understanding what your family looks like is so important. So I'm so glad we had this opportunity to express ourselves in this way, because it's one thing for someone to sit up here like myself and explain to you what my family is, but sometimes you can't really capture that in words, or you can't really say it in words, or sometimes it's harder for others to express that through words. So what else do you have? You have art, you have art making, you have the process, you have the journey to explain that and get that message out as well. So that was in a nutshell my genogram. And like, as you can see, the house Vino was a member of the family has or have had serious issues with substance or alcohol abuse and can't function without it. Just little things like that. Recognizing the family issues and understanding that they're all work in progress. So I'll take that off the screen. And yeah, back to me. So this is the first episode of, the Nikki Woods journey, journeying along with Nikki Woods. I should cut this out and cut the bloopers, but I probably won't for the first time. Maybe next time I'll get more into, how to make everything so pretty and doing the graphics and doing the motion, because I am well diverse in that, studying graphic design. I do know how to play around with, After Effects and Illustrator and things like that, Photoshop. But like I said, I'm not trying to be like this YouTube star. I'm just here to be with you and for you to be with me, whoever this is for. And for you to understand at the end, everybody don't express or take you through their journey once they become someone or something, or once they go along throughout the process. It's always a journey to me. The journey is not a destination for me. My journey is always continuing. It's never ever at a steady pace. I'm always striving for something new, something exciting, something different. And I just want you guys to be alone with me during that. And also, like I said, we're in COVID-19, and shoot, I probably need this just for my sanity. So just to say, stay motivated, and just for me to share with you guys. You probably don't even know it. You're probably going to be my therapist. This is probably a way for me to have my own therapy, which is always good for an art therapist. If you have not been on both sides as an art therapist, I will behoove you to be on both sides, so you understand what it is to get help and be able to accept help and give it at the same time. So I hope you enjoy Sunday afternoon with Nikki Woods, and I hope you come back. I'm sorry if this wasn't what you expected, but for those of you who are involved and want to stay with me, I'll be more than happy to share more with you guys. I'm going to get so in depth on mental issues, but not just mental issues. I'm going to get so in depth on me and what it is to be, a veteran going through this, and also how art has healed me as a veteran. Seriously, still to this day, if it wasn't for art, I just don't know how I would adapt. It may seem like everything is so peachy and easy for me on the outside because of social media and things like that. I don't pretend anything. Nothing on my social media is fake. I don't brag. I don't boast. Everything is genuinely, truly, authentically Nikki Woods. So take that, throw it out the window, let it go through one ear out the other, or obtain it. Whatever you want to do with it. Just know I'm here, I'm present, and I'll be back. See you guys next time on The Journey with Nikki Woods, a veteran to art therapist. Bye. Stay safe.